Admit everybody. Okay, so let's begin. Hello and welcome to our Think Like a Pro weekly Wednesday leadership training Zoom call. This is Sky Hayes, Elite Pro 8 out of Austin, Texas. Thanking everyone for joining us tonight. This training call is at 8 p.m. Central Time on Wednesdays. And this special group of four elite cross lines led by Vandy Flake from Snowflake, Arizona, Dr. Jean DeLucia from Tampa, Florida, Debbie Crowell from Ocala, Florida, and myself pretty much locked arms together and organized our Think Like a Pro training call to focus on one mission, and that is to follow and achieve the four agreements of life by Don Luis Miguel, which is a practical guide to personal freedom. That is number one, be impeccable with your word. Two, don't take anything personally. Three, don't make assumptions. And fourth, always do your best. At Think Like a Pro, we are committed to bring you one of the best, if not the best leader in our company, to bring you inspiration and great wisdom on how to build a successful LifeVantage international business. So tonight, buckle up, you guys, for I bring you my good friend, my mentor, my hero, who is loved and followed and admired by so many because of her profoundness, because of her brains, her class act, and her outstanding leadership and humility. A happy wife and a loving mother, it's an honor introducing to you this incredible human being I am blessed to know. She is an environmentalist, a wellness investor, a Lyme disease advocate, and a professional network marketer who achieved the Master Pro 10 rank in just 7.5 years. A self made millionaire, Miss Amy Holmwood. How are you, Amy?
I'm great. Wow. You have such a commanding voice. I'm so impressed. What a
Thank
beautiful
you.
team. I
I
love
have to be
I
because
mean,
I have a very
wow.
special,
I feel
yes,
like,
and
you know,
thank you, Amy. Thank you for honoring my invitation. I want you to know that we are all thrilled to have you tonight to hear your success story and listen to your best practices. So, pretty much, we're so honored to have you. Take
it's
it away.
it's my pleasure, and I love seeing these beautiful people on your teams here. I mean, Sam, I haven't seen you. I don't know where the 10-gallon hat is, but I haven't seen. I miss you guys.
Yeah, Dr. Jean DeLucia is here.
I know. I'm trying to
Debbie
go.
Crowell.
I'm trying to see it. And Debbie and yeah, I'm kind of scrolling through the photos here, and there's some live.
Jackie Kilby. There's a
Yeah, this
lot
is
of great
great.
people here. Yeah,
Yeah,
everybody's great.
I just want to say thank you guys all for being here, and it was a big day today. I'm just so I'm really excited about unity, and I think that that is something that we should look at for our businesses. Because I feel like there has been a little bit of between with COVID, the political environment and all of us, our own personal challenges that we've had to go through with our own families during this really challenging time has made it hard for all of us to unify because we're not together. Even within our own families, we haven't been able to be together. I mean, my mother passed away a year ago, June or January 18th, and we haven't even had my mother's funeral, you guys. I mean, my family is spread out across the country, and we had we had a party for my mom before she passed away with all of her best friends and all of her musical people. She was a musician, and anyway, so it was a unique situation. So I was actually able to be with my mom in a celebratory way before she died. But I mean, that's just an example of how difficult it's all been for all of us. And I do believe that we have such a unique opportunity to come together in our businesses, in our communities, to be a resource and an olive branch. And that's really what I want to focus on, you guys, because when I joined LifeVantage, I didn't realize what I really didn't realize what I needed in my life. And I think so many people, they just don't know what they don't know, right? You don't know that this kind of a community is out there in a business perspective, because I think in our own communities with our church groups and maybe our networks of friends from college and things like that, we've built deep personal relationships. But the way that we work today in society is most of us kind of work all the time. So we need to find a way to bring our friendships and our families into our work environment. And I've been working for myself pretty much since I was 14 years old. I always had a little side business, and then I ended up going to college and going into financial advisory. And I was really fortunate to be introduced to that from my father. And I've always, well, I'll be eternally grateful. My father, unfortunately, he passed away back in 1994, and I worked with him. But one of the things that I found in that community of being a financial advisor was that we all kind of needed to stick together, even though we were all independent financial advisors. There were people around the country that we were trying to find community to be able to share ideas, to be able to bring to our clients. And so I was an independent financial advisor. I wasn't associated with any particular company. So I needed to find a community and a tribe to be able to collaborate. And I think today is a perfect example of collaboration, because as you build your business, one of the most important things you want to do is you want to expand your network within LifeVantage. You really want to meet as many people as you can, and joining these Zooms, getting introduced to people, even for people that are new and you haven't been able to come to an event, which I can't wait until we can all be together again. But coming to these Zooms and meeting different people, you can still reach out and you can send people a Facebook message, or you can send people a text and say, hey, I really liked your presentation. I loved, the way that you shared, and maybe just don't be afraid to reach out. You guys, this is your business. And one of the main things that I learned when I was a financial advisor is that it was a lonely business. And as much as I think we all work together, this is also can be very lonely. And I think we all can experience that when we have to pick up the telephone and we have to call people to share LifeVantage, right? So I think everyone in here can nod their heads and go, yeah, this is really lonely. Like, how do I get myself excited, right, to get out there? And everyone's in the same boat. Nobody ever gets away with not having to do that. If you want to build a successful business, you're going to have that. So the more you can reach out, we are all a little bit lonely out there. And I know Kai, she's reached out to me so many times, what does it take, Amy, to really do this? And it's reaching out to people, and it's people that within LifeVantage and people outside of LifeVantage. And so obviously, I'm going to give you guys a really, really good tip that I think will help kind of put into perspective. It doesn't matter what level you are in the business or how long you've been in the business, because the fact that you're on here means you want to grow a business, and you can hit reset any time of day. The energy that you consume, I mean, all of us can say we've consumed a lot of energy from other people learning about how we build this business. Can we all agree to that? I think I can see heads nodding. Like, how much energy are you going out and consuming from other people? Because you have to do that, or you're not going to really learn the ropes. So don't be afraid to reach out. Now, my phone's probably going to blow up after this. Don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help. It doesn't matter who your upline is, because not everybody has the upline of their dreams or that is even necessarily engaged in the business. That doesn't have anything to do with your potential success, but you have to consume energy to be able to get that fuel put in your tank. But then you have to exert energy. And when you start exerting energy equal to what you have consumed, it's called the break-even point. And that is when your business will start to grow. So you can't just be consuming energy and learning, right? Because you have to start to exert. You have to start to put the pedal to the metal. And so when you look at your progress, have you actually put the pedal to the metal in your LifeVantage business, the way that you have consumed the information. And I would say probably most people have consumed more information than they've actually put out to the universe. So if you can start to monitor yourself, say how much, if you spend an hour learning about NAD, okay, or I'm a science geek. I love learning about everything about the industry. I want to know all about LifeVantage. I want to master network marketing, 101. I don't have to join 20 companies. This is the one and done. We're fortunate that we can just have this be the one and done, if this is where you want to be, and I hope it is. So when you look at your business, you think about how much energy you've taken to learn, and now you have to start putting that energy out there to other people. And so you want to start measuring, how much am I putting into myself and how much am I giving to the universe? You have to have that equal to start growing your business, and then it starts to explode. That is where it takes years for some people, and you could start monitoring and give yourself a grade on 1 to 10. Have I taken more than I've given? And given means you've shared this with others, right? When you think of the hours you've put in at elite academies and going to Sam, one of his, academies, all these things that we do, right? If you haven't given as much as you've taken, you guys, and I'm going to hammer this down, your business is not going to grow. Okay. Everybody with me? Does that make sense to everybody? I think it should. To me, that was like a super, super eye opener. And the other thing is setting goals that you guys have probably heard about, SMART goals, right? Have you guys heard about that? Okay. So you have to have SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time related. Those are that's 101 goal setting. Specific. So does anybody out there want to win the trip to Cabo? Right? Win the trip to Cabo. So, okay, that's specific. You want the trip, but now you have to be able to measure how you're going to get there. So one of the things that everyone needs to learn is how to qualify for the trip. I'm not going to teach you about that. It's on the website. There's tons of training on it. But one of the things that that most people don't think about, and when I built this business, everything I knew from my financial services business was that goals have a momentum associated with them. So it would take me a year to close one client on average. So from the time I met the client, I would have to have little measuring tools. Okay, how am I further along with this person, or am I just dreaming that I'm ever going to close this person to become a client? What are the things that you can measure each time when you have a goal? You want Cabo, it needs to be specific. So the first thing is, we know you have to have at least 3 points, right? From enrolling people. And you have to get 1 point, you have to enroll 5 people with 500 PV. So basically you have to enroll 15 people minimum to qualify for the trip. And you have to be a Pro 4 by June. So those are 2 things. But now you have to have 15 people. So what's it going to take over the next 90 days to be able to measure how you're doing this? So let's get those 15 done in the next 90 days, right? So there's momentum that builds from that, because when you start exposing people, they don't all close in the first month. So you're going to have to build that relationship and take the time. So those are the things that for me, every time there was an incentive trip, I knew that I was going to have to start building momentum to be able to qualify for the trip. And I never missed an incentive trip. And, a lot of these trips, you guys, it's not like that you just qualify as an elite retreat's different than an incentive trip. It's totally different. Everyone can qualify. I have to qualify for the Cabo trip. It's totally separate. Pro 10 there's no benefit of being a Pro 10. So I have to get 25,000 new volume from a new team that I enroll over the next 6 months, call it, right? 25,000. Do you think that's difficult, you guys? Brand new, right? Not easy. Okay. So that, and I also have to get 3 points from enrolling 15 people. But I know if I enroll 15 people, I'm going to be able to get 25,000 in volume. So it all works back really, really well. So I also wanted to talk about the human brain um, can only focus on 3 things at a time. Now, I know that there's a lot of people that are multitaskers. Like I think I'm a great multitasker. No one's good. No one's good at multitasking. It's not what we're designed for. We get good at it because we just end up being like that, especially if you're ADD. So if you can focus on 3 things instead of moving from this to this to this, and start it and finish it. So like when you're starting something, like I'm going to sit down and make calls today, don't get distracted and go and do something else. Finish that in that time frame. If you just get these things done and you give yourself a break, basically by only giving you 3 things to do, and when you start looking at these goals, you want to think about that momentum, right? Those momentum pieces that are going to be important for you to achieve your goal. And one of those things would be to enroll a new, to enroll a new person. Okay, that would be a great thing to do, because then that person going to start to have volume the following month. So when you look at your goals, specifically say, my goal is I'm going to enroll 2 people this month, right? Well, how many calls do you have to make to do that? How many exposures do you have to make? So every single day, when you make your list in the morning, the focus has to be on those 3 things you need to do over the next 30 days. Spend time on those big things, because that is a big thing, right? To achieve that, to get that number of distributors. But you can't not look at that every single day. So I'm just saying, you guys, if you want to build, you don't just say, oh, I just want to be a pro 5, right? I want to be a pro 6. I have a number, I need 50,000 in volume. You need to break it down. And this was something that was really important to me when I started, was to understand how the business actually worked. Like, what do I need to do in these 3 different legs, and pay attention to that. Have that on your radar every day so that you don't have to wait until the end of the month to see where you are. So this is a real business. It's something that I took seriously when I started, and I still do today. I would say that today I feel like I'm actually starting my business over again, which I always feel that way. It's the beginning of the year. And I think if you treat it that way, that it really is fresh and new. And I do believe that today we do have a more of a unique opportunity than we've really ever had before, because of where we are in society today, with the awareness of our health condition being a total scare. People are nervous completely about their health, about getting COVID. They're also worried about all their family members. And then they're also in a very unique, challenging time financially for a lot of people, where 40 million people today are potentially going to lose their homes in the United States from the pandemic. So we and it doesn't matter how many Mercedes they have in their driveway. They could be over leveraged, and they could be in just as bad a shape as the person that lives in an apartment somewhere. You just don't know. So don't be afraid to have that olive branch that when you think about, I like the word unity, because I feel like right now, if we think about unity, to me, it's not scary to talk to people. When we want to extend an olive branch, we have something that could help someone either from a health perspective, or even somebody who's lonely that's looking for a community, or somebody who maybe wants to start a new career. They hate where they're working, and now they worked from home, and they're finding that wouldn't they love to be able to stay home instead of go back to work? Do you know how many people feel that way? And if you just called them and said, I might have something, I don't know how you feel about your career or where you've been in your business, but I've known you for so many years. You're obviously quite successful, but are you excited about going back to the office again, or would you rather stay home? I mean, there's an opening with an invite. And I know, Kai, you wanted me to talk about, inviting. And I think today that the invite can be so easy, because there's a conversation that we can have with people. And it's just asking those questions about, if you could transition into something else, what would that look like for you? Because I have a home-based business, and it's really been wonderful during COVID to be able to work from home. And, I don't know if only 7% of the population, you guys, actually were people prior to COVID that actually were able to work from home, and they were mostly high income earners. Most of the average public cannot work from home. So people have to learn how to work from home. And guess who can teach them? Guess who can teach them how to work from home? Most people don't know how to do that. They've never done it before. So here you are, you've been working from home part-time for however many years you've been in LifeVantage. And now you're home more full-time potentially. And you can say, I've learned how to build a home-based business. Have you ever considered having one? That's an open-ended question. Yes, and what would that look like for you? So those are the things. I think the invite today, we're now 11 years into our being in network marketing. You can still have that same sense of urgency where it's like, this is the most exciting thing that you've ever been involved in before. And you still feel as excited about it as you did when it started. And I think we all can say that the only thing we're not excited about is that we have to put the time in and work really hard. Besides that, we're pretty excited that we have this tool and we have these resources and we have this company. So I think that enthusiasm can still be there for people. It doesn't matter how long you've been in the business. So I don't know, Kai, if you want to stop me and ask me some questions, but for me, it's like, the intensity, the enthusiasm, and the unity of bringing people together with some information that most people still have never heard about before is what we have to offer. And it's real.
Absolutely. That was fantastic. That was a great wisdom, you guys, that you've heard from our Master Pro 10. That's the reason why she is a Master Pro 10. So I hope that you guys have taken some great notes because tonight I will give you the floor to unmute yourselves if you want to ask the questions, because right now, like she's telling you, reach out. This is the perfect time for you to reach out to her because she's here to answer your questions. So take it away, you guys. Do not be shy because Amy's not going to eat you. She's here to give her best wisdom for all of you. Anybody?
Hey, Amy. This is Sylvia Morales from Austin, Texas.
Hey, Sylvia. Hi.
Hi. I do have a question, and I've been asking it a lot lately with different people, and I'm trying to find a good follow-up system. I've tried cards, I've got notes, I've tried a tablet, I've tried so many different things to try to stay organized in keeping up with the follow-up so I don't lose them, because I know the fortune is the follow-ups. And I've got it all over the place, and I can't find a good system that's quick, easy to do. And so I'm trying to get advice. What do you suggest? People are telling me CRM system. People are telling me all these things. I said, but I want to hear from you. What have you used?
I am old school. I'm totally old school. I have the cards with a little file box, the little 3x5 cards, and I have a date, and then there's 31 days tabs, and you just rotate those. They just go from, because when you're following up with people is the most important thing we can do. Obviously, making the exposure and then doing the follow-up and having a specific date as to when you're supposed to follow up with that person. And when you do that, you take that card, and then of course, you have information that you've gleaned from them because you asked them questions, and maybe there was a reason that they wanted to put it off for another month or whatever. You just put them in that next thing, and then you go the next day, you wake up and you pull out, there's 10 cards in there. To me, that is a no-brainer. I like to write stuff down. Like when I'm on the phone or I'm doing a Zoom, and a lot of my exposures are on Zooms now, I'd rather, instead of having to sit there and go into no matter what you do, you're going to have to write it down, especially when you're talking to somebody. Then you're going to put it in a computer somewhere. And if you want to create some, there are all kinds of tracking systems that you can use. I mean, there's a lot of them. There's Constant Contact. That's one that I still have, that if you want to, you could even put in, you'd probably have to take a day a week to go, okay, I need to put all these in the system, right? You're going to put them in, and then you're going to be able to follow up that way, where your thing will just tell you, automatically send a note, automatically send an email to somebody, automatically send, hey, you said we were going to talk on the 31st here. I'm going to be calling you. Like, wouldn't it be nice if you were that organized? I'm not. I never have been. It's not my strong suit. That is not something that I have had to do, frankly. Today with with our phones, I mean, I'll just put into my calendar right there. I'll write it down, but I'll still put it on my calendar when to follow up with somebody. And that way, every day when I wake up, I just look, even before I go to sleep, I say, what do I have on my calendar tomorrow? But then you want to make that time as well to have the new exposures. So you'll have, you don't want to put that time slot in of when you're going to make some phone calls. But I just put them in to my calendar. But I do find that if you do follow up with people professionally, like send them an email. And I know a lot of people don't open their emails, but you're not doing it often. You're just going to send a follow-up email and say, hey, I'll reach out to you again. Send them an email and send them a text and say, hey, I sent you an email, because maybe you'll send them some information. Like one of the follow-ups, obviously, is always sending something, right? You're always going to send something to give them more information. And I think that if you can write those things down too and ask those questions, what is most interesting to you about this opportunity? Or if money wasn't an issue right now, would now be a good time to get started? Ask these questions to find out what it is they're truly interested in. And then you can write those things down on the card, and those can be pieces that you'll continue to follow up with. So I don't have any computer system that I use. I've hired people to do marketing for me in the past. And it just, after 6 months, I was done with them. I had hired people to help me with Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest and and also follow through with follow-ups as well, and doing email lists, serve, and all this other stuff. And at the end of the day, picking up the phone and talking to somebody, you guys, it's the way to build your business. I mean, ultimately, even if you're on Facebook, you're making those engagements, you're doing your follow-ups there, you're putting them in ad tag message, you're putting them in groups, you still have to pick up the phone and talk to them. Otherwise, I mean, you have to build relationships, right? So that's really what I like to do. And I think today, more people are wanting that human connection than ever before. So I think that it's unique to be able to just be somebody that just wants to talk to somebody. And I think
I want to get out. I'm tired of being on Zoom. I'm the type of person I like face-to-face, meeting them at a networking event or a business event. Because I keep from corporate America, and I like that human touch. That's me.
Yeah. I wish I had a better answer for you, but I'm old school. I'll be 60 this year. I'm like, hey, I'm still good with technology though, but I just prefer the.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Sylvia.
Amy,
Yeah.
I have a question.
Hey.
Amy, let me see if I can find you again. Where are you?
I am here.
Okay, there you are. I've been intrigued about the Chinese market, and I'm wondering, is that still a good idea? And what do you do to get involved with that?
It's a great idea. I mean, it's definitely at the beginning stages of the actual China country market. The US China market is wide open. There's Chinese people everywhere. You don't do anything differently than you would do with anyone else that you would expose to. The challenge with it is that there are some cultural aspects to building that business that make it more difficult if you don't have a Chinese community to plug those people into. And so, but I always encourage everyone to try to penetrate the Asia markets, because they have a very high desire for health, like higher than most other countries. They have the disposable income to spend, and they value health products. They also work very, very hard, and they work in teams, they work in families. And so I really have been so blessed to work in the Asian communities, because it takes a big load off my back, because they work really hard and they work together, and they don't necessarily need me to do a whole lot. And that's what you want, you guys. You want to find leaders that can run with this business. That's going to enable you to go out and build multiple teams. Because if you're the person that has to put all that energy into it, it's going to be really, really hard to be able to go out there and build multiple teams. And I think a lot of people have gotten trapped, and stuck at ranks because they kind of painted themselves into a corner, Kai. Okay. Where they're like the leader running everything, right? And everybody's depending on them. That's not the answer. You guys, I'm telling you, you got to go out and find people that want to do this. They have that, that independent determination. They don't need anybody else, but they do need, in the beginning, they do need somebody. And so,
Okay, I still have more questions about the
Okay.
Chinese part.
yeah.
I live in Mexico. So
Okay.
anything that I would do would have to be like on the internet.
Yeah,
And
right.
I was just curious, is there anything that if you were to, is there like training that LifeVantage gives for this
They do.
specific market?
They do. And there's trainings. It's in your back office. Go into
Okay.
your library and there's videos. There's everything there. They also have, if you want to send an email to Sonia Song, Song at lifevantage.com, she'll put you into a group and there's a China Ambassador Facebook page, LifeVantage China Ambassador page. You can go on there. They post all the trainings. You're going to have to go out. No one's going to teach you this. All right.
Right.
I'm just telling you, no one taught it to me. I had to build this myself. I brought Chinese people to the company. We're still building this, but there's nothing that's super organized about it at this point. It's still kind of like the Wild West. It's no different than building any other business. The only thing is that when you do get people, and LinkedIn is a fantastic place, by the way, for you guys to do some networking, to find the Asian community. There's just so many there. We do have recorded presentations. They're fantastic. You can post something like that. You can send somebody, if you meet somebody on LinkedIn, we have stuff that's already set up that's fantastic. Okay.
Wow.
There's enough there for you to build your business, but it's not easy. Okay. Just like any other market, it's not easy and it's just getting started. So we do have a few blips in terms of the way things are handled in China. The website's not working 100% all the time. And, it's the startup, but it's worth it. And I encourage you and everyone on this call to reach out to Chinese people and, expose them, put them in the China Ambassador Facebook group. They can learn. You'll find somebody. If you do it, you'll find someone. Just like any other exposure, you'll find somebody.
What about Korea? Are we in Korea and Japan?
Not yet. Yes, Japan, we are. Japan is one of our largest markets. Korea is not open yet. South Korea will probably be open within a year. That would be our next country.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy.
Hi, Amy. My name is Barbara Beakley, and I have a lot of past customers that sort of dwindled away for whatever reason. When I do get a hold of them, they usually say, well, my credit card expired and so forth. But anyways, is there any viable way of reaching them, reawakening their interests, and even if it's just to get back on the products, or just to inspire some interest again?
Sure. Yeah. And what kind of follow-up do you have with your customers?
Well, I've done emails, I've done text, and I've also do the telephone too. So I do I like some of the company's emails. I send them out, send special things out and so forth.
The best way to keep your customers is to call them and ask them how they're doing, what's their experience been, is there anything that wish they could improve, send them some samples of different things. I sent, you have to spend money to make money. I sent True Science anti-aging cream to all my oldest customers that started 8 years ago for Christmas. And I got 3 orders from that. You guys think of like your favorite customer service experience. Think of your favorite one. I don't know what it is. For me, it might be going to the Four Seasons in New York City. Okay. Going into the Four Seasons. And then they call me after I leave the hotel and they ask me if there was anything that could have been better about the experience. How would I, they have amazing customer service. You guys, we have to be the Ritz-Carlton or the Four Seasons of the nutraceutical business. And LifeVantage is not doing that for us. You have to be that person. So that if you want to keep customers, just like in any other anything. It's not just it's not just per tandem, just because they take a pill and all of a sudden the rest of the world, they're going to always take per tandem for life, because they're not plugged in the way we are. They don't have that knowledge that we are getting every day about what's going on with this. So unless we're imparting that on them, they're going to lose touch, just like anything else. And their credit card expires and all of a sudden they didn't take it for a month. They're like, I didn't notice a difference. So they stop taking it. So listen, customers are potential distributors. So the more we can build those relationships, follow up with people, pick up the telephone, text them and say, hey, I'd love to chat and see how you're doing. If you have any questions about the product, and it starts right at the beginning. So that's the first thing, right? When you first get a customer, you want to call them right away and say, I really appreciate you, joining, and I want to make sure you have everything you need. You always make sure you tell me if you have any questions right at the beginning, to set that in stone that you are on it, because we're in sales, guys. I don't care what anybody says. We are in sales. People can say this isn't a sales business. It is, you're promoting, right? We are. We're promoters.
Is there any other question except for,
Yes.
I think I'm gonna read this question here, Amy, for you from Julie. It says, would you please share several statements about how you share the vision of LifeVantage so it resonates with people? For example, on a three-way call to a prospect.
Absolutely. I love three-way calls. And by the way, you guys, three-way calls are really, really, really important. It's that edification of the person that's the customer, potential prospect. It's edifying the person that got them on the phone. It's being professional and putting a stamp on that this is a professional business. Because if you're doing it by yourself and the person you're talking to didn't know you from LifeVantage, they knew you from something else, it's not a professional stamp of approval. It just isn't. Even for me, I had a business, I was successful before, doesn't matter. What do you know about NERF 2? Amy, you're a financial advisor. So I'm just saying, so the excitement I have when I do a three-way call, it's edifying the people really fast. You don't have to go on and on and on. Just keep it super professional. For me, it's that I wanted to have a business I could run from home, and I wanted to be able to have no limits on what I was doing. And I didn't want to have any limits to, earning capacity that is phenomenal. And also the highest quality business model and the highest quality product. And so when you look at doing a three-way call with somebody, the first thing I like to do instead of just talking is to ask them questions, because usually they've already gotten some information before I got on there. So I like to ask a lot of questions. And then once they answer the first question, then I know where I'm going to go with this, because generally it's what is it about this? If there were, you've heard a little bit about LifeVantage. I don't want to repeat anything, but what is it about this why you're on the phone with us right now? Like, what is intriguing to you about this? And they'll say, well, my friend told me about it, or, it might be they don't want to get you too excited. So they're I'm not really sure I'm interested. Okay, well, so tell me what you do. What do you do for a living today? Well, they start to talk to you. Okay, so let me just tell you, so I hear what you're saying. And is there anything about your career that you wish you could change? Is there anything about the history of your business and your career that you wish was different? They're going to go, yeah, well, I'd love to be able to, yeah, I'd love to quit my job. Okay, yeah, I'd love to. So instead of just talking, you guys, ask questions. The guy that got him on the phone's already talking. Now, when I get on a three-way call, they've already been partially exposed. I don't just have someone watch the ABC and then get Amy on. I'm not doing that. You guys have to be able to run with the beginning of the call. Okay. And get to know a little bit if they have some interest. And then you go, that's a great question. Hold on. Okay. You just asked me a really good question. Hold on. Let me see. I've got somebody else that I would love to introduce you to. Hold on a second. Don't ask permission for the three-way call. Is it okay if I get Kai, my upline, on? Never say upline, okay? Never ask for permission. This is your business, you're a leader. And you're gonna say, that's a great question. Hold on. I'm gonna see and of course you're gonna have the other person teed up. You're gonna text them and say, hey, I don't know if I'm gonna need you. I'm not gonna waste your time, but I might need you in 10 minutes, so hold your horses. Text them and say, okay, I got you. And then you're going to make that three-way call, and you're not going to ask permission. They're going to get on there, and it's going to be me. And I'm going to say, oh my gosh, it's so nice to meet you. And you, obviously the question's going to come up, and I'm going to answer the question, and then I'm going to start asking questions. So there's no magic, you guys, to what to say on a three-way call to make like, this is the greatest business in the whole world. Everybody needs to join. It's going to be more about building a relationship. All right. But if I had to crystallize it, because I know people want an answer, is that I'm associated with a publicly traded company, trades on the NASDAQ. It's part of the biggest economic trend in world history. And it gives people the ability to work from home on their own time. And there's really no limit to how big your business can be. It's a global company. I decided to build a global business. I don't know if that's something you're interested in, but we have some really unique products that people throughout the world are very interested in. The company's growing, and I'd love to be able to share some information with you if you are open to taking a look at this. And that's really it. I mean, I'm not going, oh, it's NRF2 activation, it's a scientific breakthrough. I'm not saying any of that, you guys. I'm just trying to edify that we have a home-based business that has potentially unlimited earning capabilities and also is in the health space because it's one of the fastest growing parts of the economy today. So that's what I do. And there's no, I think if we get too excited and get too like using words that people don't understand, they're not gonna understand. They're not gonna be as open because they're not, you need to give people words that have meaning to them for them to want to listen more. That's just my opinion. But so I try to keep it pretty elementary, and I try to keep it calm.
Perfect. I hope, Julie, that answers your question. And I'm going to give one more question, a bonus question for you guys. One last. And
Okay, I have a question, Kai, for Amy.
go ahead.
Hi, Amy, it's Kiki. So what did you do when things didn't go well the first time? So, for example, if because there's never a second chance for the first impression, right? But I guess, what did you do in those cases? So
Yeah.
how would you redeem yourself?
Sure. And, you know, I think you can even say that, you know, hey, they say there's never, you know, the first, you can, but you couldn't, you know, you can say, you know, maybe it didn't go like you don't want to have any expectations of somebody, right? So you don't want to say, oh, it didn't go well, I was hoping you were going to like it, or none of that, right? Okay. So it's more, listen, I'm not sure you got the full story. You know, maybe I didn't explain properly, or maybe I didn't get to know what your needs are, but I would love to have a chance to talk again and be able to just find out a little bit more about the potential of whether there's something here for you. With what I found, I'm not sure I gave you enough information. I'd love to have a chance to talk with you again and just put it out there. I mean, don't be afraid, because most of the time, a lot of the time when people aren't interested, it's not necessarily that they weren't interested, you know, right? They might've been distracted, or maybe it was a horrible day, or maybe their boyfriend broke up with them. I mean, we don't know what people are going through, right?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times it's really not what you think it is. And really, it's like 90% of the time, what we think is true is inaccurate when it comes to what somebody else thinks about what we have. So I always found that in my insurance business, and I learned this, took me a long time to get comfortable with this. But when somebody wouldn't return my phone call, or somebody wouldn't respond to an email, I would think, oh, they're not interested, right? Think that, oh, they're not interested. 90% of the time, that had nothing to do with why they didn't return the phone call or anything. They were busy, or they just, you know, you have to be the one to continue to do that follow-up. And so I don't know that, I don't think anyone, it's very rare that someone's not interested in a business you can work from home, to have additional income, have better health, right? Building a great community with a publicly traded company. Most people are interested in learning about something about that. It's just whether the timing's right for them right then. So if they're closed-minded, some people are just shut down. They're not open. right? They just are. So you can ask that question. Are you open? You want to ask people that question. Are you open to looking at a potentially another income stream or another business that you could integrate into what you're doing today? And if the person says yes to that, and then after you explain it to them, they say they're not interested, they still said they were interested in a business, right? And I don't know if you're approaching them with business. That's what I always did. I wasn't approaching people about the product. It was about the business. So when somebody says I'm interested in that and then say I'm not interested, you have a reason to call them back and say, I thought about it 3 months ago. I called you. You said you were interested in business, and then you said you weren't interested in my business. I'm not sure I explained it well enough. Would you be willing to listen to my pitch again? Or maybe listen to somebody else who's been really successful in this. So
Awesome.
yeah, you just have to go back to people. And that's part of pushing through those boundaries and giving more than you're taking, because you have to be willing to do that. You have to be willing to work as hard at exposing people at this as you have been working, learning about this. Okay. And that's the point I'm trying to make, you guys. Unless you put that energy out there, it's not going to work. You're not going to succeed. I'm just sorry. And I've told this to Kai 100 times. I'm like, are you putting yourself out there, Kai, to successful people that are going to appreciate what you have to offer?
How cute is that? Thank you.
So wonderful. Well, you guys, I hope you have gotten all your notes, because I'm telling you, I've got 3 pages of notes here for that short period of time. With Amy around with us tonight, I wish we could go on and on and on and on, because this is so good, you guys, but we need to stop at some point, and that time is now. So please help me drop a heart on the comment section below and send our love and gratitude for our Master Pro 10, Amy. Our incredible mentorship tonight is such a wonderful time. Thank you very much, my dear friend. Amy, I love you. We love you all here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time to be with us.
Absolutely.
Really.
My pleasure.
It's an honor.
Let's do it. All right.
Do you have
Thanks,
any
Amy.
parting
It's great to
words,
see
golden
ya.
nuggets?
Yeah, you too. Was that Sam?
Yeah.
Oh, so good to see you. How are you guys?
Yeah,
Oh,
we've got a lot of
yeah,
great speakers here as
lots
well.
of good people on
Amy,
here.
thank you so much. This is an incredible night for us. What a gift. What a gift. Thank you, Dr. Jean. Happy.
Hey,
My
hey, Jean, how are you?
and Sam, in behalf of course, Bandy, who's shopping
Yeah.
out there. Bandy
All
shopping.
right, guys. Yeah.
I love you.
Yeah,
Thank you
buddy.
so much,
Thank
Amy. And you guys.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you,
More-
Kai.